Well, welcome back to our Yankees podcast, Believe in the Bronx. Pete Caldera here in Midtown Manhattan. Three-time Yankees World Championship reliever Mike Stanton in the Houston studios. Mike, how you been?
I'm doing well. It's hot down. The summer is definitely hit down here in Houston. It's hot, but you know what? It's always hot. So
Yeah, we're getting some of that Houston weather here in the
yeah.
Bronx. And, hopefully, it doesn't lead to too many rain delays this week. Speaking about delays, we're a month and change now since Aaron Judge hit the wall with his right foot at Los Angeles, and we're still as much in the dark, I think, as we were 4 weeks ago, Mike. I was in a pool of reporters that spoke to Judge for a few minutes before a game this week. We're recording this the day after the 4th of July, so he spoke right before the 4th of July day game in Baltimore. And I guess the good news is that he's on the field playing catch. He's taking dry swings. He's swinging off a tee. But he did say that, and this is something he repeated, he said this before, if I could run, I'd be on the field playing. And you don't want to see me out there running at 10%, not going to help anybody. So
right.
The suggestion is that he's still a ways away from from full baseball activity and coming back to the Yankees lineup and being, frankly, Aaron Judge. I mean, I think the Yankees, there's a part of them that they don't want to rush this because they don't want to worsen this injury if possible, and they want Aaron Judge to be Aaron Judge when he gets back. He also brought up the fact that the surgery is kind of on the table, but seemed to rule it out as a prospect for this year. Could be an off-season procedure, but he'd rather not this year because he wants to rehab it and get back as soon as possible. But we're still in the dark here a month later, Mike.
And it's frustrating, and you kind of look at it and you go, okay, well, are the Yankees just keeping this close to the vest and just not giving us all the information? I don't think that's the case. I think what's really going on here is they just simply don't know. I mean, it's really up to Judge's body, how quickly he's going to heal, how quickly he can start exhibiting some pain management with the toe. It's great to see him on the field, but playing catch and taking dry swings is a long ways from actually playing in a game. So I just think that this is one of those things that it's got to be frustrating to Aaron. He wants to be on the field. It's got to be frustrating for the Yankees because they know that they need him on the field. But I think this is just going to be one of those things that we're not going to be able to put a definitive timetable on it until he actually can get on his foot and start testing it. And who knows when that's really going to be.
Yeah. They've been very careful to not put a timetable on this.
Right.
And I think this has to do with past history with injuries and Judge and maybe trying to rush him back. And the fact is that, I still think that they are dealing with some unknown here. I mean, we were sort of in this position with a similar, but I hate to compare it directly to DJ LeMahieu's right foot, right big toe injury last season, but that's an injury that he played on for a while, and then eventually they put a halt to his season. Was not available for postseason. And he obviously was not the same player in the second half of playing on that injury as he was earlier. But with Judge, he talked about that's his back foot, that's his plant foot, that's his pivot toe. Having to transfer 270 pounds of weight, to be at the power hitter he is, to do what he does on that. You need to. There's a lot of other factors that go in that.
Sure.
Now, he's spoken about eventually having a cortisone shot, eventually having orthotics, being fitted for orthotics that would kind of, limit the flexibility of that toe so he can deal with whatever pain tolerance. And he did mention pain tolerance as something he has to do. But, you're still dealing with what he has said and is a torn ligament there. And, you just there is so much unknown about even if he does come back, can he still be Aaron Judge for the remaining weeks of this season?
Well, and we also know with the LeMahieu issue last year, the problem with toe injuries, that's not a high blood flow area. We've heard from the medical staffs that, it takes longer for extremities to heal just simply because you don't get the blood flow in like a hamstring or a quad would. So, and it's just an unfortunate situation. Now it does look like some of the guys in the lineup are stepping up some. Harrison Bader with the big swing yesterday, Gleyber Torres with another big swing, both hitting home runs. Giancarlo Stanton had another hit. So he's trying to get back on track. And that's like we talked about before. That's how things have to happen. No one's going to replace Judge. Even Giancarlo Stanton, if he's hot, he's still not going to replace Judge. You got to have everybody do just a little bit more, or actually just have everybody have consistent quality at bats, and then things will at least stabilize a little bit. But, it was a big win yesterday for them against Baltimore, one of the teams that they are chasing. And with the offense that they got, it does seem like it's progressing and trending in the right direction.
Yeah. And, you're seeing also, Mike, what an impact that Harrison Bader is when he's in that lineup. He's another guy that, health has been an issue keeping him on the field. But when he's on the field, when he's in that lineup, they're a different team. This is not a high on base guy,
right?
But his power element, his speed, the disruption he causes on the bases, his elite center field defense, the energy he brings, all that. This is the kind of player that the Yankees have lacked in recent years. And when he's in that lineup, what an impact he's made.
Yeah, there's no doubt. He came up with the label of being an elite defender, that this is a Gold Glove caliber defender, even his first year in the big leagues. The question was going to be back in St. Louis, and I think it's one of the reasons why they kind of let him go was, is he going to hit? Is he going to hit enough? And he's really progressing in the hit tool. Yeah. Their strikeout, he's not, I don't think he's ever going to be a really high batting average guy, but we've also seen some pretty good power from him. So, and just having that dude in center field, you go back to the late 90s Yankees. We had Bernie in center field. That was a big part of the stability we had defensively, being strong up the middle, and, Jeter at short and Bernie up the middle. So you look at those two and you go, okay, you understand. They're kind of the same thing with Bader in center field. It just stabilizes everything. And, with his ability to kind of grow as a hitter, who knows? This guy might end up being more of a front end of the lineup or middle of the lineup impact bat. You never know. But I think he's even better right now than I think the St. Louis Cardinals thought he was going to be.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, were you surprised? They acquired him 11 months ago at the trade deadline. He was the last guy that they got. And, it was to us, it seemed like a curious deal trading Jordan Montgomery, an established starting pitcher in the Yankees rotation. Sorry, Midtown Manhattan going on. An established guy in their rotation for a player who was at the time on the injured list with plantar fasciitis. They weren't sure when they were going to get him back. And I don't think, a lot of people in New York really, even though he grew up in New York, really knew the impact he had on the Cardinals. Were you surprised when they made that deal?
I really was. I thought that the Cardinals might have, they may be at your door by then. They just turned the sirens off. They're coming to get you. They may, I think they kind of gave up on him a little bit too early. I understand, it was a big league trade. We don't see very many of those, a big league player for a big league player. It's usually a major league player for prospects. So I don't want to say they actually gave up on him. And Jordan Montgomery's actually pitched quite well for the St. Louis Cardinals. And, you and I both know the sign of a good trade helps and hurts both teams. So, I'm glad to see that he has been able to progress, because here's the thing. Could the Yankees actually use Jordan Montgomery in their rotation? Of course they could, but they also need Harrison Bader in center field.
Right. Speaking of returns to the rotation, the Yankees will get Carlos Rodon finally back
Yes.
this weekend. He's scheduled to pitch July 7th against the Chicago Cubs at Yankee Stadium. That's his first game back. He was dealing with a forearm issue in spring training. Then started on a rehab assignment, then came up with a back issue, and that's really what's kept him, sidelined these last 2 months now. But things have progressed to the point where he had 3 rehab assignments, and now he's ready to slot back into the Yankees rotation. That's going to be a big boost, and maybe by the end of this month, they'll get Nestor Cortes back in the rotation.
Yeah. Huge psychological boost. Huge. Yeah. I mean, even if he goes and let's say he just pitches okay, but just to be able to say, you've got your biggest offseason transaction, you got him in your rotation. This is basically almost a trade deadline acquisition. I mean, we're getting into that window. We're in July now. So, this is huge. And to get Nestor back would be even that much bigger for them to get healthy in that rotation. Their bullpen has been outstanding, but you got to have dudes. You can't play from behind. It doesn't matter. Even if they were at full strength with Aaron Judge, nobody's made to play from behind. Right. And so that's the importance of starting pitching. Hopefully Rodon is ready to go. And there's a little silver lining here. He had the arm injury in spring training, and he was trying to come back from that. And then he had the back issue. Right. Well, he's actually had all this time to continue with the arm care and letting the arm heal right instead of rushing his way back. So in a way, this could be a positive for this Yankees rotation, just simply because now he's just that much further away from the arm injury.
Yeah. And right. And the only guy that I think you worry about right now, I mean, obviously you got to see how Rodon does. Cortes is still a couple weeks away, but they got to get Severino right.
Yes.
He's shown some flashes of being Severino again, but the fastball command, he just hasn't had that bulldog Luis Severino look that you're accustomed to seeing. Now it's 8 starts since he's come off the IL. They really need to get him back on track.
Yeah, because that's a big piece. I mean, it's a high velocity fastball power guy. He's got a pretty complex delivery, and and he actually, what I feel like he does, I feel like he slightly opens up, which means he kind of steps towards the first base on deck circle, and that makes things, when things get out of whack, it's very hard to get him back in sequence to throw the baseball.
Right.
That's why stepping to your target, or maybe even a slight crossfire, it may take a little bit of power away from you, but it can also make you much more repeatable. So I think that's what's been the biggest issue. From everything we've heard, Severino's healthy, that there's nothing wrong with him physically. So to me, that goes to maybe a slight mechanical adjustment to get him back to where he needs to be.
Right. Well, the Yankees will go into the All-Star break with 2 All-Stars officially, Judge and Cole. They could add a player with injuries. You never know with what goes on with a final All-Star roster. But Garrett Cole will represent the Yankees right now in Seattle. And Mike, have a great All-Star break. We'll see you on the other side.
Yeah, it hadn't taken very long to get here. It seems like the season just started just a couple weeks ago, but I think we're in store for a great second half. And these Yankees, they get healthy, the division is still not out of the realm of possibility.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we'll talk about it all next week. Thanks for joining us again. We'll see you at Leave the Bronx. Take care, Mike.
Adios.